Hoy comentaremos y haremos un resumen de una película conmovedora de terror, Loren. Fue publicada o fue estrenada entre el 2023 y 2024. Es una película de antología de terror británica. La sinopsis dice que 4 amigos amantes de las emociones fuertes contratan una excursión de acampada temática de terror. Y su excéntrico guía, Darwin Richard, el actor Richard Brake, los lleva a un bosque remoto y les pide que cuenten sus historias más oscuras alrededor de una hoguera. Pronto descubren que estos relatos de espíritus y demonios tienen consecuencias reales, desatando un mal ancestral. La película es conmovedora y de mucha tensión. Seguimos comentando y haciéndole el resumen sobre la película.
If you are scared, pull the covers up tight. Today's horror movie is Lore 2023. Here he comes. The story begins. 4 college students go camping outdoors. They happen to meet an old man on the way, so the group joins the old man, whose name is Darwin, to set up tents nearby. Darwin tells them, it is best not to wander around at night, because supernatural events often occur in this area. Rumor has it that in 1933, the police found several bodies in a horrific state just 100 meters from here. Darwin says he was there watching from the sidelines, and the tragic scene is still fresh in his memory. Mark laughs out loud, thinking the old man is just trying to scare them. After all, 1933 was almost 100 years ago. Then Darwin takes out a wooden stick, claiming that as long as you throw the stick into the bonfire and tell a scary story before the wood burns out, you can communicate with the spirits of the dead. He then asks in a slightly mocking tone, who has the courage to try first. Mark says he will go first, and that the story he is about to tell will definitely scare the wits out of everyone. His girlfriend, Donna, advises Mark not to do it, but the old man has already handed over the stick. Mark takes the stick, casually tosses it into the fire, and begins to tell the first story of the night. Shadows. A man is running desperately on the road, with 2 people chasing closely behind him. The man's name is Daniel. Just because he embezzled product worth $50,000, it was discovered by the higher-ups, so they sent Barry and Terry to hunt him down. In a panic and with nowhere else to go, Daniel has to squeeze through an iron gate and hide inside a warehouse. Barry and Terry also chase him to this spot, so Daniel plays hide-and-seek with the 2 of them. Just then, Daniel discovers a back door. Just as he is about to slip away, Barry appears and knocks him to the ground with 1 punch. Barry is obviously simple-minded. He does not immediately restrain Daniel, but instead turns back to call for Terry. Just as Barry turns his head, Daniel climbs up the shelves to the other side. The heavy blow to the head makes Daniel dizzy. He slowly crawls out from underneath, and then hears a strange, low growl. He looks towards the sound and finds a monster crouching behind the shelf. At the same time, the monster also spots him. Daniel hurriedly shrinks back into the shelf. Meanwhile, Barry has also chased over. Daniel warns Barry to watch out behind him, but unfortunately, Barry thinks Daniel is playing tricks on him, and that monster is approaching Barry. Barry's eyes are gnawed out by the monster, and he dies on the spot. Terry, hearing Barry's screams from a distance, rushes over. Naturally, all he sees is Barry's corpse. The death of his companion makes him curse loudly. He takes out the pocket knife he carries, preparing to avenge the dead Barry. On the other side, Daniel spots the monster through the shelves. Seeing the monster is about to come to his location, he has to squat behind a box, praying the monster will not find him. Luckily, the monster goes elsewhere after a while. Terry still does not know what happened at this point, and is still looking for Daniel. He seems to sense something, and as he turns his head, Daniel appears in front of him. Enemies see red when they meet. Daniel tells him to calm down, explaining that there is a monster here, and that Barry was killed by it. Of course, Terry does not believe it and says he will give Daniel one last chance to speak. Daniel insists on his story, saying that Barry was so strong, how could his small frame possibly defeat him? Seeing that Daniel's words make sense, Terry decides to go kill the monster. Daniel advises Terry to escape together, but Terry says that for Barry's death, someone must pay the price. Seeing this, Daniel has nothing left to say. Then Terry hands Daniel a wrench to use as a weapon, and warns Daniel that if he dares to run away, he will definitely kill him. Terry is tackled by the monster. Daniel takes a peek and sees the monster straddling Terry, its claws tearing at Terry's flesh. Daniel summons his courage and shouts, "Hey you, kill him." The monster takes damage, turns its head, and stabs its sharp claws into Daniel's thigh. Injured, Daniel runs away immediately. As a result, he runs into Jeff, the warehouse manager on patrol. Jeff notices the wound on Daniel's leg and asks him what happened. Daniel says there is a terrible monster in the warehouse, and they need to call the police immediately. Jeff certainly does not believe Daniel's one-sided story, but he still takes him to the security room. After all, the leg wound really needs to be stopped from bleeding. Then Daniel urges Jeff to call the police quickly, because no one can guarantee whether the monster inside will come out. He tells Daniel to calm down first, saying the door is locked, and it is safe here. Then he stitches up Daniel's wound. Daniel asks Jeff to check the surveillance playback, so he can prove that everything he said is true. But the footage on the monitor shows that Barry was killed by Daniel stabbing an iron rod into his eye, and Terry was beaten to death with a crowbar. The wound on the leg was not caused by a monster, but by Terry stabbing him with a knife before dying. This terrifies Jeff, who is standing nearby. After all, a murderer is standing right next to him. He comforts Daniel while calling the police, but Daniel's mind goes blank. He clearly saw all of this happen with his own eyes, but the footage in the surveillance video cannot be faked. He does not understand which version of events is real. Just then, a familiar low growl sounds. It is that monster coming. Jeff emphasizes that there is nothing here, and Daniel is just too nervous. But with a flash of light, the monster appears behind Jeff. Daniel screams in horror for the monster to stay away from Jeff. Jeff tries to turn around, but he seems unable to see the monster. In desperation, Daniel picks up the knife nearby. He points at the monster and tells it to get away, but the monster makes no movement. Daniel, collapsing into despair.
La película, como pueden ver, es una película de mucha tensión. Y fíjense que los ingleses no tienen ese estilo como tienen los americanos, que las películas americanas de terror, la música es más terrífica que lo que está pasando. Es la música la que te pone en tensión. Ellos son diferentes, pero no deja de ser igual terriblemente fuerte, que da hasta miedo a la persona que no está acostumbrada a ver estas películas, siente miedo. Vean esta película, pronto se estrenará en este canal y comentaremos muchas otras. Continúen viendo el resumen de la película.
Slits his throat on the spot. The story ends. The two girls are scared, but Dan says it was not scary at all. And in the end, he did not understand if the monster existed or not. The old man on the side says he understood. Rather than saying the monster is a physical entity, it is better to say the monster is a reflection of the man's heart. He killed the two men purely because of his own evil thoughts. But he did not want to admit that all this was real, so he fabricated a non-existent monster, because he is the monster himself. Next, it is Dan's turn to tell a story. We also welcome the second horror story, The Hidden Woman. The story begins. Hannah brings her son to an old house. Just as her son is looking up, the wooden door on the side opens eerily. Inside are many things left behind by the previous owner. But the previous owner is dead after all, and died in an extremely weird state. Leaving these things here is bad luck. In the afternoon, Hannah prepares to throw these things out. She does not notice a ghostly figure standing in the bedroom. After moving the things downstairs, she hears a sound coming from the basement on the side. She goes to the basement and discovers a long-abandoned gramophone inside. But after some investigation, she finds that the gramophone is broken. Although it is a pity, Hannah decides to keep it. After all, fixing it and selling it could make some money. Time moves to late at night. Hannah is woken up by a sound. She wakes up to find her son not by her side. At the same time, she hears music from downstairs. Hannah goes downstairs and finds her son drinking water. Horrifyingly, a female ghost is standing behind him. But as soon as Hannah turns on the light, that figure disappears. She thinks she saw it wrong, so she warns her son not to run around. She turns back to get a cup to pour herself some water, but realizes that with her son's height, he cannot reach the cups on the cupboard at all. So she asks her son how he got it down, but the only response she gets is her son's silence. The next day, Hannah is writing a novel downstairs, but just as she is conceiving the plot for the next part, a heavy banging sound comes from upstairs. Hannah thinks her son is dancing, so she does not pay much attention, but the sound gets heavier and heavier. Hannah has to tell her son to keep it down.
Charlie!
But when she turns her head, her son is playing in the yard. Then what is that sound upstairs? Hannah takes a knife for self-defense and goes to the bedroom door. She pushes the door open fiercely. There is nothing inside. She waves to her son downstairs, completely unaware that a female ghost is standing right next to her. At night, Hannah is watching a TV show, but the gramophone eerily starts playing music automatically. She turns off the TV and goes to the kitchen to turn off the gramophone music. The sudden appearance and disappearance of the ghost makes Hannah feel panicked. She understands that this gramophone absolutely cannot stay in the house. Otherwise, something bad will definitely happen. Hannah packs up the gramophone. At this moment, her son finds a photo underneath and says the person in the photo was the owner of this house a long time ago. Hannah takes the photo. The woman in the photo is wearing a dance outfit, and it is very likely that the woman in the photo died long ago. So she asks her son how he knows. Her son says that last time he was drinking water downstairs. The woman told him personally. Hannah instantly gets goosebumps all over her body. At night, Hannah throws the gramophone into the trash can. She turns back to find that the lights upstairs, which were off, have eerily turned on. Hannah rushes back home and finds her son is not lying in bed. Then she turns around, and her son appears behind her. Hannah tentatively calls out her son's name.
Charlie?
The next day, Hannah returns home from shopping, only to find the gramophone she threw away, eerily appearing in the house. Hannah has to throw it away again, but the gramophone cuts Hannah's hand, as if warning Hannah about something. Then Hannah takes out a match and burns the gramophone. At the same time, a ghostly figure suddenly walks into the bedroom. The son, who is sleeping soundly, thinks Hannah has returned. The female ghost puts an arm around the child, trying to turn him around. Just at this moment, Hannah returns home. Seeing this scene, she turns on the light. The female ghost on the bed instantly disappears. Seeing that the ghost is targeting her child, Hannah decides to take the child and flee overnight. Just then, the gramophone downstairs starts playing again. The sound is miserable and terrifying. Hannah immediately turns off the light and tells her son not to make a sound. Downstairs, the female ghost dances with eerie steps, coming towards the second floor, searching for their traces. Seeing the ghost go into another room, Hannah hurriedly takes her son downstairs, but the door of the house has long been locked, and what awaits them is only The story ends. Mark and Donna are obviously scared. Dan and his girlfriend Sally mock the two of them. Mark tries to argue, but Donna says she will tell the next one, and it will definitely scare Dan and his girlfriend. We also welcome the third story, Cross Your Heart. The story takes place in a bar. Our male protagonist, Steve, is thinking with his lower body. He actually wants to take his girlfriend for a threesome. Kath strongly opposes it, but in the end, she cannot beat Steve's persistence. Then Steve gives Kath a key and takes another woman. Luna. Into the hotel. Steve lies on his stomach on the bed, while Luna takes out a jar. She draws a strange symbol on Steve's back. Then she restrains his hands with handcuffs. Steve thinks this is some strange new game, but just as he turns his head, he sees Luna wearing a strange mask made of twigs. Then she puts a head hoop on Steve's head. This terrifying scene scares Steve out of his wits. What is more horrible is that Luna takes out a red-hot branding iron and presses it ruthlessly onto Steve's body. Steve goes numb from the pain. He rolls over and throws Luna off. Then he hurriedly runs out the door to call for help. But horrifyingly, the outside is full of people made of tree branches. Finally, he meets a normal person downstairs. Steve asks the waiter to call the police immediately, because there is a group of cult members upstairs, performing a strange ritual. The waiter says Steve must take him to see it first, and only after confirmation can he call the police. So Steve has to go back to the room. But Luna behind the door shows no abnormality, as if everything just now was fake. At the same time, Kath also appears inside, with a strange symbol painted on her back. Then the waiter knocks Steve out with a cheap shot. Just as he wakes up, he is surrounded by cult members. He is treated as a sacrifice. Kath personally digs out his eyes and cuts off his tongue. Next to be sacrificed are his heart and life. The story ends here. After listening to the story told by Donna, Dan and his partner laugh, saying this is not a horror story at all, just a simple sacrifice. Then Dan asks his girlfriend Sally to tell the last story. Sally says her story is scarier than all of theirs. And this last story, we will name it The Keychain Man. The story begins. 3 college students come to a movie theater. They are James, Matt, and Natasha. When these people are buying tickets, they happen to see the ticket seller, a big guy named Gareth, being scolded by his boss. The group buys tickets and enters the theater, finding the whole theater pitifully empty. If not for a man with glasses named Jeff sitting in the front row, they would have thought the 3 of them had booked the whole place. Just then, James says he needs to go to the toilet. When he comes out, he happens to see Gareth being fired by the manager, Mr. Robinson, but the fired Gareth does not leave. Instead, he goes over and picks up a mask. Then he pulls a fountain pen out of Mr. Robinson's pocket. After killing Mr. Robinson, he locks the movie theater door. Anyone with eyes can see what Gareth is going to do. So James stops peeing. He runs back hurriedly to tell Matt, Natasha, and Jeff. But these people just do not believe him, thinking James is joking. Jeff, as a materialist, decides to go see for himself if what James said is true. And the others also decide to follow Jeff to verify the truth. So Jeff finds Gareth. He says the cinema sucks, and he wants to complain. But the next second, he is locked by an iron chain around his neck by Gareth. As the force gets stronger, Jeff's head is ripped off alive just like that. This scene scares the group so much their hair stands on end. They hurriedly run back to the screening room to discuss countermeasures. They find the only exit is in the lobby, so the group quietly gropes their way back. After arriving at the lobby, they find the lights have long been turned off, and Gareth is waiting there for them. James and Matt run away in a hurry, but Natasha trips while escaping. When she wakes up, she finds that Gareth has not hurt her, so she runs to the screening room. Matt is sitting in his seat. No matter how Natasha calls out, he does not respond. When she gets closer to look, Matt's jaw has been removed. At this moment, footsteps are heard outside. It is Gareth coming. Natasha hurriedly lies on the ground to escape notice. But just as she runs to the exit, she runs head-on into Gareth. So Natasha also dies. And James is still alive right now, and hiding in the women's restroom with a cleaner. Then Gareth also searches the restroom. But soon, there is no sound outside. So the cleaner tells James to go out and check the situation. James pushes the door open, and Gareth is standing in the restroom, motionless. Just when we think James is about to die, a man in black suddenly jumps out from behind Gareth. He hits Gareth on the body with a stick. Unfortunately, the damage is negligible. Then Gareth stomps the man in black's head to pieces. In order to survive, James summons his courage and knocks him down with a stick. The cleaner also takes this opportunity to hide. Gareth raises his head at this moment. Seeing this, James hits him one more time. Then he finds the keys on him. James opens the door and crawls out first. But the cleaner is unlucky. She is dragged back by Gareth halfway out. Her fate can be imagined. James thinks he can survive, but he is mistaken by the police for the killer. He is shot to death. The story ends here. After the final story is told, the group says to Darwin, "We have all finished telling stories. Won't you tell one?" Darwin says he is a little scared now. He does not dare to tell one, but his smile is extremely eerie. Soon, the second day arrives. After the group wakes up, they find that Darwin has already left early. Not only did he leave, but he also took all the mobile phones and wallets from their bodies. And after an unknown amount of time, news of a murder case in a movie theater appears on the news. At the same time, Darwin appears in a forest again, continuing to induce people to tell horror stories. The full text ends here. Those who like it can go watch the original version. The uncensored version is even more exciting.
De aquí pa' allá, de allá pa' acá, guarandinga, ja, ja, guarandinga, ja, ja. Aquí reirás hasta cansarte, hasta que el alma se despierte. Aquí encuentras el chiste, la broma y casos de la vida real. Ven con nosotros a la fiesta, una experiencia sin igual. Te darán hasta ganas de gritar y al ritmo no podrás parar. De aquí para allá, de allá para acá, guarandinga, ja, ja, guarandinga, ja, ja. De aquí para allá, de allá para acá, guarandinga, ja, ja, guarandinga, ja, ja. Aquí reirás hasta cansarte, hasta que el alma se despierte. De aquí para allá, de allá para acá, guarandinga, ja, ja, guarandinga, ja, ja. El sudor cae, la noche arde, bailando fuerte sin mirar atrás. Historias que el tiempo guarda, risas que nunca se van. Un viaje que no termina, siempre hay algo más que contar. Te darán hasta ganas de gritar y al ritmo no podrás parar. De aquí para allá, de allá para acá, guarandinga, ja, ja, guarandinga, ja, ja. De aquí para allá, de allá para acá, guarandinga, ja, ja, guarandinga, ja, ja. Aquí le irás hasta cansarte. Suscríbete que el alma se despierte. Aquí reirás hasta cansarte, hasta que el alma se despierte.